Okay, now, uh, can y'all see my screen?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, that's real good because apparently I try to share it and I don't know that I haven't shared it. I'm just talking away like I'm being brilliant. So again, let me go back. So you're going to go into new subscribers, hit subscribe, put in information here, and then continue. Yeah, I know I already do. Continue, and then you put in the discount code, the Tampa 21,
Okay.
and it will reduce your rate.
Michelle put that in our chat, right, Robin?
Yep.
I think I saw that come through. Okay.
Yeah.
She did.
Okay. So we're doing the CBAP login. Okay, so we typically would be doing let's do a mix of all of the knowledge areas. I'd like to do something a little bit harder today because y'all are ready for it. I'm going to do the exam simulation. This isn't going to give us the answer immediately, but what it will give us is the really long verbiage and then the multiple questions after that. It's just a little bit harder than what we've been doing. We've been doing the, 2 paragraphs. This is like 5 paragraphs. It's just a little harder, but I want you to be ready for it whenever you go to take the test. You ready?
Ready.
Drum roll, please. If y'all can all come on screen, I would really love it. Okay. As I've told you before, whenever you first sign into the test, everybody I've talked to says that the really, really long questions, the essay-like thing, are in the first, 30, 50 questions, something like that. So I advise you that whenever you first sign in, just don't even start with question 1, jump to question 50, because you're going to get questions like this. And you're going to get used to it, get comfortable with it, and then after you finish the rest of them, then go back and do the hard ones. Okay? That's my advice. So let's go ahead and answer this one.
Also,
Yes.
the
Yes, ma'am.
only really long question should be for the case-based ones.
Yes,
So
yes, that's what
that
I'm talking
means
about.
you'll get several questions on that verbiage. So it looks like a big wall, but you only have to read it once or twice.
So
So
here's
don't be scared of it.
I had a class earlier today and we talked about it, and I said, I think there's only about 6 that I remember on my tests. And
Yeah.
somebody else said, but there's 5 questions for each one of those. So you have about 30 questions that are going to be in this format. That's
It's not scary. They're just questions. You'll
yeah,
figure it out.
yeah, we're gonna figure it out. Okay,
Just
so
dive in.
after prioritizing some requirements, Amanda provides a stakeholder with a list of those prioritized requirements. The stakeholder verifies that the prioritized requirements will provide value from an organizational perspective. Who is the stakeholder?
I'm going to go with either B or D.
Yeah, I probably leaning towards the implementation subject matter because
Okay.
I don't.
So
Yeah.
which task is this? We've got a list of
Right.
prioritized requirements. So the task is
It's
Fair. Right. The
is it
stakeholder
that easy?
prioritized requirements will provide.
it's isn't it if they're approving or she's
I think it's
prioritizing?
verify.
Yeah, it's verifying. No. Yeah,
Organizational value. Who determines that?
The sponsor.
the sponsor.
Yep. And they validate.
Okay, again, this isn't going to give me the answer here,
No, because you have to wait till the end. Yeah.
but we're going to just do a section and then I'll submit it and then come back and we can see the answers.
Okay.
Okay.
Verify is the requirement usable, granular, understandable, properly formatted, smart, all that. Validated is it the right thing?
Right.
Does it provide value? Okay. Alexis performed an enterprise readiness assessment and discovered during the course of the assessment that a couple of key stakeholders have not fully bought into the business need or even the process of business analysis for that matter, calling it fluff. Those heathens. Alexis documented and communicated her concerns to the sponsor with the associated impacts. After much consideration, the sponsor. Alexa, stop. I'll change the name next time. After much consideration, the sponsor decided the potential benefit of the work outweighed the risk. How would you describe the sponsor's attitude toward risk? So this is really the only thing is talking about risk, right?
Right.
Well, the
Oh.
situation is a risk, but the
Yeah.
sponsor decided the potential benefit of the work outweighed the risk. So do we know the sponsor's attitude toward risk? So it's unknown?
That's what I put.
Okay, let's check that one and go on to the next one.
Would
Or the
have
situation.
gone with risk seeking.
Risk seeking.
That's what,
You
I know
would-
it's not risk averse, obviously. I don't
Right.
know if neutral is an option. Unknown just seems
No.
weird. But
So neutral or risk seeking, which one do y'all think we should go with?
I think it's risk seeking because it's not neutral.
Okay. Well, let's check when we come back. Okay. What's an example of a risk associated with this scenario? A couple of key stakeholders do not buy into the business analysis work. The BA will need to work to understand the root cause of their lack to buy in. That the stakeholders who haven't bought into the business analysis work may actually sabotage the effort, or the stakeholders will be monitored closely to identify actions that may signal saboteur-like behavior. Remember, according to the BABOK, what would be the right answer?
C.
You say B?
C as in Charlie.
C is in Charlie? Everybody agree?
I would think that the BA would want to understand the root cause of their lack of the buy-in.
But that's
Okay.
not the risk. That's the mitigation, I would think.
Yeah,
think-
I
And I think D is the mitigation as well.
okay. We're only gonna do one of the case studies, and then we'll come back and do it all over. I mean, we'll check the answers.
We can go with-
Okay. I'm expecting the case studies and they're not happening. Susan is a business analyst developing a screen mock-up for a key stakeholder showing fields from a data model. Which of the following is true? So she's developing the mock-up. That means she's in specified model requirements, right?
Yeah.
Which of the following is true? Susan is assisting the architect and developer to complete their deliverables. Susan is eliciting requirements and using data model fields to understand the user needs. Susan is working both as a business analyst and a design architect, or Susan is defining the design of some aspect of the solution based upon elicited requirements. So let's eliminate. Can we eliminate A?
Yes.
Yeah.
So we're
And
not
we can-
helping somebody else's with their deliverables.
Right. We could eliminate C, I think, too.
I agree.
Okay. So we only
It's
have
B
two
and D.
left.
Susan defining the design. Define design options.
Some of the aspects of the solution based on elicited.
Develop a screen mock-up. I'm gonna say Delta.
Why do you like that more than this?
Because define is that I feel like that might be what defined design options is.
The
Okay.
mock-up,
It's like a prototype. I know it's
it's a
but it
prototype.
seems like they've got the requirements and they put together the prototype, but they're looking for more requirements to see if it works. But I don't know if that's a design aspect.
Okay, she's doing this for stakeholders.
Mhm.
So it looks like to me she's still trying to get information from them, which
Yeah.
is her trying to understand their needs, not just defining the design.
Right. I think she's still eliciting requirements.
I would go with B. I could be wrong.
And the way I think about it is she would have to have some information in order to make up a screen. Although
Mm-hmm.
there's some tiny chance she could just make a screen up with what she thinks is the right information, run it up the flagpole for review, and see who salutes. So do something to get the conversation started.
Yeah,
But
that's why D
and then
could be.
ask for feedback and correction, because you'll always iterate until everyone agrees. However, that's not the ideal way to do it. By the time you get to screen markups and whatever, you should already know the information and the actions you're trying to represent on that screen, to my thinking.
Okay, so are you thinking B should be the answer or D should be the answer?
Um,
I
yeah,
know. It's probably one of those ones.
that's
This is a
hard.
close second.
That's it could be either one.
Okay. I'm going to vote for B and we'll check it.
Okay.
A senior business analyst was discussing the reason why she was using an onion diagram to address the concerns of the sponsor regarding resources of the organization who will be involved in the solution. The BA provided which of the following responses. So for this one, you have to understand the purpose of an onion diagram. An onion diagram indicates which stakeholders will be directly interact with the solution. An onion diagram indicates how involved the stakeholders will be with the solution, which stakeholders will directly interact with the solution, and which are internal or external to the organization. An onion diagram will help identify stakeholders, or an onion diagram will determine impacted stakeholders who are internal and external to the organization.
Delta.
Yeah.
Jovan, you got a different answer?
Checking the book. I mean,
Checking the book.
Just read this like an hour ago, too.
What's that thing you always love? The racing matrix isn't an onion diagram meant to communicate that?
Right.
And
No. A racing metrics indicates who's responsible for what. An onion
Mhm.
diagram indicates who is at how far people are, and so it puts them in groups.
Right.
Okay, we're going to test this one.
Okay.
How can requirements be prioritized? I'm sorry, when can requirements be prioritized? At any time in its life cycle? Only if documented constraints and assumptions require it to be prioritized. During the prioritize requirements and allocate requirements tasks, or only during the prioritization of requirements. Let's eliminate some of these. What can we eliminate?
C. It sounds fictitious. I don't know.
Okay, we've got a vote to eliminate this one.
There's not an allocate requirements task, right?
Right. Never
You're
heard of
right.
the
It is
allocate.
fictitious. Good job. Can requirements be prioritized at any time?
Yeah, they can as needs change.
Okay. Do we ever need to have the constraints and assumptions defined before we prioritize requirements?
No.
Documented.
Documented constraints and assumptions require it to be.
Well, it looks
I
like I
would
got a
say,
vote for that one.
yeah,
Yeah.
Y'all good with A?
I
Yes.
agree.
We'll test it when we come back. Keith is scheduling participants for a workshop associated with a highly debated project with an aggressive timeline. He must ensure he has everyone's buy-in on the session objectives, purpose, and process, as well as give them time to review the supporting materials. He sees all the stakeholders are available in 2 days, but not again for almost 3 weeks. When should Keith schedule the workshop and why? 3 weeks because he needs time to prepare the stakeholders for the event and give them time to review the supporting materials. 3 weeks to ensure everyone can attend the session. 2 days because if follow-up is needed, he can schedule a second session in 3 weeks. Or 2 days because the project has an aggressive timeline, which has to be met no matter what. Remember, this is according to the BABOK, not the way we do it in real life. And the BABOK has very strong feelings about it.
Yep, A.
Okay.
In real life, it would probably be the 2 days, right, Sandy?
Yeah, for real. Giovanni, you good with A?
Why not do it in the next 2 days and get the feedback in 3? I don't know.
Well, in real life, that's what I would do. But the Babok has a thing, and he says it's a highly debated project with aggressive timeline, and he needs everyone's buy-in.
Yeah.
So he needs to get everybody on the same page before they get together and just start arguing with each other. Okay, define design options is a task in which of the following knowledge areas? Solution evaluation, strategy analysis, elicitation and collaboration, requirements analysis, and design definition.
Delta.
Yep, D.
D is in dogs.
Yep,
Or
Okay.
Delta.
or Delta.
Alpha
Okay.
Bravo Charlie Delta.
Yeah,
Yes,
yeah.
that's it.
Robin is on it.
Jack is conducting interviews with stakeholders to elicit requirements. The sessions are not going well, and he's asked you for your help. Stakeholders are confused why the project is needed and what their role is in the project. Which of the following would you recommend? Advise Jack to better prepare interviewees by sending them supporting materials in advance of the interview. Advise Jack to better prepare interviewees by sending them supporting materials in advance of the interview and educating them before the actual interview as to their role in the project. Advise Jack to educate interviewees as to their role and the relevance of the information they have to the success of the project before the interview to facilitate buy-in. Or advise Jack to work more closely with the project manager and the project sponsor to get the stakeholders on board with the project.
Charlie.
I was going to say C, yes.
Okay, I'm going to go ahead and submit this because I had expected to have a case study by now. We are going to
Review, yeah, view results.
well, I think I want to go back to the test though.
Yeah.
Oh, view this exam's question. Okay. So number 1, we got it correct. It is the sponsor that
Yay.
verifies prioritized requirements from an organizational perspective for value. You got
I
it
always get
right.
that one. I know, but I usually get that one wrong. So thank you, Sandy.
Well, think about the sponsor represents the organization. Go from
Yeah.
that angle.
The product owner is another possible answer for that, but not against those possibilities.
Javon, you were right with the second one.
Wait,
So
wait.
Number
Unknown.
2 is unknown because what we're talking about is a known situation. It's not an unknown. If it
Okay.
were an unknown, we could say it's a risk, but it's a known situation, so it's an issue. So his response wasn't a risk response, it was an issue response.
I
So
was
Sean, you
wrong
got
on
it.
that.
It's Stephen in here. All right. Sorry, I've got people coming in late, so I'm having to double check.
Okay.
Okay, we know the answer to that one and we understand. Does anyone have a question why this is not a risk? I mean, is this one of these like, oh, I knew that, but we didn't think about it because it's asking about a risk, right?
Right. It's giving you 2 different scenarios though. So it's like the sponsor is different from Alexis.
That's true. Alexis,
She's
the
looking at it
BA
as a
in this
risk.
case, the BA in this case documented her concerns with associated impacts. It never says she thinks it's a risk either.
That's true.
But this is a known situation and she takes it to the sponsor and the sponsor says, it's okay, we're good with it.
Okay.
So this is never a risk. I mean, it was until it happened, it was a risk. Once it happened, it's an issue. Okay. We will never get that one wrong again.
No.
Okay. This one. The stakeholders who haven't bought into the business and analyst work may actively sabotage the effort. That's the risk.
Sandy, you're right.
No, I wasn't right. That's what I chose. Oh wait, no, that is the one I chose. Okay, cool.
That is
This
the
is
one you
what you
chose.
chose.
That is
Yes.
the one you chose. I
And
chose the
this is
other
what
one.
This is what the BABOK says, that stakeholders who haven't bought into the effort may actively sabotage the effort. So that's what you have to watch for.
Okay.
This is a remediation effort,
Yep.
and this is a remediation effort. This one is the risk.
Okay.
Okay. Next one. Okay. The correct answer is, the question was, Susan is a business analyst developing a screen mock-up for key stakeholders showing fields from the data model. The correct answer is Susan is defining the design in some aspect of the solution based upon elicited requirements. Explanation: screen mock-ups are considered design in one example in the BABOK. Design focuses on the solution. Susan is defining the design based upon the elicited requirements, which these data model field imply. This one says it's a potentially correct answer. So in the techniques, it mentions that prototypes are used to elicit and validate stakeholder needs through an iterative process that creates a model or design of requirements. That definition would support this answer, but depending on who writes the question and what part of the BABOK they reference, the correct answer may seem arbitrary and you must make a judgment call. What can
Oh, isn't
help
that
you
nice?
decide in this case is that Susan is defining the design based upon listed requirements, which is the data model fields imply.
And that's exactly the discussion we had. So your
It is.
instincts are good.
Yep. Okay, next one. An onion diagram indicates how involved the stakeholders will be with the solution and which stakeholders will directly interact with the solution and which are internal or external to the organization. The answer we chose may be true, but primary objective of an onion diagram is to determine stakeholders' level of involvement.
Yeah,
Not
it's like
internal
their
or external.
closeness and level of involvement. I did not like with either of those answers. The fact that they talked about who's inside and outside the information or organization, that is not relevant, and it's not what an onion diagram is for. There may be some overlap to that, but it's how closely involved are you to the thing. So that's what it's really about.
Typically, whenever I use an onion diagram, the center circle is my core team. Those are the people who I'm working with all the time. And then outside of that are the people that we bring in as SMEs periodically. The people out that are probably the end users or maybe regulators. Now those would be SMEs. So I try to keep it down to 3. That way it's easy to say this is, it helps with defining your communication. How are you going to communicate with each of the different groups? It kind of puts it in that kind of order. Okay, we got this one right. Requirements can be prioritized at any time in the life cycle.
Ready to be-
Designs can be prioritized if they are
Ready.
ready to prioritize, but doesn't explain what that means. And this one we got right too.
Can you go back?
Yes.
The thing that's a little flippy about that for me is that once you implement something or do its design, certainly then the requirements life cycle is over, unless you're going to change it. So in that case, the way I think about it is you're iterating between phases backwards in that case. But that's a weird, slightly weird question for me.
It is, but for that knowledge area, it says that these tasks occur from inception to retirement.
Well, when is a requirement retired is my point.
When the solution is retired.
Uh,
I know.
That doesn't make sense with that question. When you build it, you stop prioritizing because you've done it. You're only
Okay.
prioritizing requirements when you assign them to design or implementation.
Okay. So Keith was scheduling this workshop with a highly debated project with an aggressive timeline, and he had to ensure everyone's buy-in. He could make the meetings 2 days from now or 3 weeks from now. We chose 3 weeks because he needs time to prepare. By taking time to ensure buy-in, the workshop will have more engaged participants. In addition, participants will have time to review supporting materials in advance of the workshop. And I think this is the last one we did. We got it right.
I think we did one more.
Yeah.
Oh, did we do one more? Thank you.
Yep. we did 9.
Requirements analysis and design definition is the correct one for that task. Okay,
Mm.
so we chose advise Jack to educate interviewees. And the correct answer is this. The BABOK stresses the importance of the BA preparing stakeholders for any elicitation event by sending them supporting materials and requests that they review them in advance. This could include information about the project, the needs of the project, and the needs the project will address. In addition, educate them beforehand on their role and the relevance of the information they have to the success of the project. I love to say, without you, we cannot succeed. And people are like, what, me? I mean, it's beautiful to watch them bloom. It's just lovely. Okay, we're going to go back and do it again. Maybe we can get a case study this time. I'm going to skip to a case study.
You went by one already. Another one.
She's looking for a big one.
No, I'm
and
looking
the
for a
long one.
big
There
one.
you go.
Let's do this one. Julian is a BA working on a project to create a new subscription management system for Nord-Est magazine. We've seen this one before. Do y'all want to do it
Yep.
again?
Let's do a different one. Because yeah, we
Okay.
did see this
And
one already.
it's only 2 questions, so it's not bigger.
It just has a picture, so it looks bigger.
Yeah, that's true. It looks bigger.
There's one. This one, look at this.
Whole
That's
bunch
big.
of information.
Okay, before we read all of this, let's scan the question. There's only 4 questions.
Alright.
Given the
There's four,
importance,
that's good.
yes, given the important stakeholders in this organization, given important stakeholders in this organization are family members, what do you need to do differently to define their roles and responsibilities? So it's giving us the option of doing nothing, find the org chart and consider any unique needs, use a roles and permissions matrix for this effort, understand that despite the titles family members have, the parents will have ultimate decision-making authority, or nothing. You should identify the family members and their characteristics who will be impacted by the change as you normally would. So let's skim through this. We've got a health center. It's privately owned. Willowbrook's franchises its fitness and health concept to people who want to add value to people's lives by offering this is their goal. They built 4 more fitness centers in the metropolitan area. They decided to expand. They hired Greg Smith, who is an experienced sales and marketing professional in the franchise industry. They've gone from 20 franchises to over 350 in 19 states. However, the growth rate has slowed dramatically over the past 2 years, and worse, some franchises have left the organization. The owners have sponsored an effort to help stop the decline. So here's the table for growth. We've got information here. It doesn't help us with our question. So the owners' 4 children joined the company. They each have their own roles, current needs, and situation. The current franchise system is not meeting the needs of the franchisees as shown by the following summary compiled by a business analyst assigned to the project. You have now been asked by the project manager for this effort to lead the business analysis work as a senior business analyst. So here is the information that we know. The current system has inconsistencies and redundancies which cause ongoing frustration. Adding new franchises is complicated and error-prone. Calls to customer service desk have increased by 15% in the last 9 months, and sponsors are worried that the unique Willowbrook experience will deteriorate for the franchisees and their employees and are concerned about the public and industry perception. So in all of that, this part right here, this one paragraph is what we need to answer this question, because it explains who is doing what. So these employees are members of a family. Do we do anything different? Do we treat them like normal employees, or do we how do you manage this? Which one do you think we should do?
I think it's D because even you never really take into consideration I mean, you do take into consideration titles, but that doesn't really mean power and influence. And it would be the same situation with family members. When you look at the stakeholders, you might find that the parents have more influence, but that's what you would do in any organization.
Right, I would say D. Yeah.
Okay.
And D and have a family dinner.
Whenever you document this information, would you use the roles and permissions matrix? It's a stakeholder diagram, right?
Yeah.
So is
I would use
D any different than B?
I wouldn't use the roles and permission matrix. I'd one that has the influence, the stakeholder matrix that has the influence and power
Okay.
influence matrix.
Yeah, there you
Okay.
go. Yeah.
Okay. So I've got several votes for D. Let's go on. The next question, let's see what its topic is. You recognize the business needs statements could be improved with additional refinements. If you wanted to improve them, what would you suggest be changed or added to the stated business needs? So let's go up and look at the business needs statement. I think that was at the bottom. Current situation and needs. I don't see a lot of statistics here. You know, current state should have some statistics, don't you think? And goals for future state. So it's saying franchise growth rates have slowed from 371% 4 to 5 years ago to 34% in the past 2 years.
That would be that chart that they gave, yeah.
Is that?
There you go.
Yep, you're right. Adding franchises is a complicated error-prone process that takes up to a week to perform, and the franchisees would prefer to have it done in 2 days. The sponsors are worried that the unique Willowbrook experience will deteriorate for the franchisees and want to implement a net promoter score survey to measure the public and industry perception. I think we're down at the bottom again.
Yeah.
Or franchisee growth have slowed from 635% 4 to 5 years ago to 35% in the past 2 years. This is asking us to do math.
Yeah, A and D are the
Yeah.
same with different math, right?
Right.
Wow.
Yeah. A and D
So
are the
they
same
can't
with
both
the,
be true. Do we feel like one of those is the right answer, or are these? The question is, you recognize the business needs statements could be improved. Is this business needs statements up here,
no, that's just reporting the growth.
or is it down here?
I would say it's down there. It's the current system has inconsistencies and redundancy, which causes ongoing frustration.
Right. So all of these are the business needs.
Adding a new franchise is complicated and error prone.
I like Bravo because it says what the problem is and what they want to do about it. Takes a week. We want it done in 2 days. So there's a goal.
Yeah.
Okay.
I
And
don't
you-
know. With C with the net promoter score, that's kind of weird because so what? You implement it, but they don't say what they want the results of it to be.
Right.
Okay. Does everybody like B?
Yeah, let's try B.
If we don't have to
Okay.
do math.
Fine.
China's voting for A.
Yeah, he was.
Okay. Well, we will figure out what the answer is in just a few minutes when we check it.
The math doesn't math on A or D.
It
I
doesn't.
didn't. You feel strongly about continually improving your business analysis efforts. When you identify potential improvements, which of the following roles is most important one to consult with and why? So for you and your business analysis effort, which one would you do? You would consult with Chris, a key subject matter expert, to set expectations regarding his involvement. You would talk to Shelley and Stan, the sponsors, since they will have to approve any additional funding needed. The project manager, since any potential corrections will impact the project's schedule and budget, or Garrett, the assumed CIO and key subject matter expert, since any improvements will affect IT. So we are back in chapter 3. Which of the roles is most important one to consult with and why? I don't think it's going to be A because, well, I don't know.
You got a B answer so far from the chat.
Thank you. The sponsors for your project. I don't know if the project sponsors would be providing funds for you to improve your business analysis efforts.
That's what I'm saying. I think it's the sponsors, but I don't think it's because of the funding. So
Yeah.
I don't think that doesn't match. my
Okay.
thoughts.
And I don't know that your BA improvement will necessarily affect IT.
No. I don't think so either because it's more it has to do with the franchising and not
I've got a,
Project manager.
I've got,
yeah, I was gonna say C.
Yeah.
okay,
Because if you make any changes, it's gonna affect the
okay. Next
schedule and
question.
how soon it can get done.
In this case study, given the entrepreneurial nature of the company, which of the following should you consider for measuring the business analysis work effort? So we know what task we're doing. Would you use standard business analysis performance measures that have worked on other similar projects? Use existing organizational performance standards? Ask key stakeholders which performance measures they think are appropriate, or use item tracking because of its simplicity. Does the entrepreneurial nature of the company change anything?
Not really.
Okay. Does it matter if the organization has performance standards?
No, I think it's A.
Yeah.
Okay. Let's test it. And okay, let's submit and come back to it. Okay. I've got to jump a long way to get there. Oh, wait, I can do it this way. Wasn't it 29? Oh, that was weird result. Somebody logged that as a bug.
Wasn't it 29 was one of them, but
I thought it was. Okay, it's
there we go.
29. It just didn't give me the thing I expected there. Okay, so 29. We got it right.
Project manager for
Of
that
all
one.
possible answers in this question are potential stakeholders involved with the business analyst performance improvements because of the effect on the project, the PM is the best choice. If potential problems or opportunities for improvement are identified, the project manager must be consulted before changes are implemented to assess whether these changes have an impact on the project. Okay, this is number 3. Let's go on to number 4, and then we'll go back to 1 and 2. Okay.
Any key stakeholders.
Ask the key stakeholders which performance measures they feel are appropriate. So the environment sounds informal. So asking key stakeholders for their input would be appropriate. The business analyst may also elicit assessment measures from stakeholders. What we did was, it says true using standard measures have worked for you before. That makes sense, but this may not be suitable for an entrepreneurial family-owned type of business. Minimally, you would discuss your standard measures, but asking stakeholders is even a better measure.
And how would you know what the standard measures are unless you would learn them from the key stakeholders on previous projects? So it's
Right.
informally baked into that answer.
Okay.
Nothing.
Which one should we do? Nothing. You should identify the family members and their characteristics who would be impacted by the change as you normally would. I agree with this. It may require a bit more tact whenever it's a family-run organization, sibling rivalry and, things like that. The BABOK says stakeholder analysis involves identifying the stakeholders who will be directly or indirectly impacted by the change. Good job there. And
I think we gotta go.
if you wanted to improve the business needs statements. So we chose
calculating the growth.
this one. Yes, calculating the growth from 4 to 5 years ago. Business needs is an input into all of these tasks. So having from it was doing this and now it's doing this, so that tells you current state better than anything else.
That's really badly worded.
Can you show the chart
You have
again
to go
that shows the
through
growth?
and see
Yes.
if you can recreate any of those numbers.
So we have how many it began with, how many added, how many lost, and then the ending count. So we have for 5 years ago, there were 20 and it grew 55 to 50, grew 55 larger. Then 75, they grew 72 larger. 147,
But
it grew 116 larger and lost one. Then 626, I'm sorry, 262, and it grew 78 larger and lost 5. And then now it's 335 and it grew only 29 and it lost 10.
look at the actual math they give in the question. So you're supposed to be able to intuit that from 4 to 5 years ago they grew 600%, and that is 147 basically over 20, or 147 minus 20 over 20. And that's kind of goofy. So 147 minus 20 is 2 years of growth from 4 to 5 years ago. It's just poorly worded.
It's the bottom when they're
Okay.
calculating it. Yeah.
So 147 minus 20 and then over 20. And then 354 minus 262 over 262.
Some of that is when things get bigger, the growth rate slows down. That's just math, typically.
Yeah.
So that
Right.
may not be a bad thing, but the number of new franchises declining is showing that there's a problem. They've either hit saturation, they've hit what the market will bear, or they've run into some kind of problem.
Okay.
And intuiting that it's supposed to represent 2 years of growth makes no sense.
Can you go back
And
up to the
those,
chart for a sec?
Yes.
I just want to see the titles. Because I'm going to do this in Excel later and figure out what the heck I'm talking about.
You can do a
All right.
screenshot that way.
Got it. Yep, I got it. Thank you.
Okay.
So let me ask you a question. Do you think that if a question looks like it wants you to do math, that's probably the answer, that it wants you to do math?
Once you do math,
I mean, once you understand it, this is not totally unfair. I just don't like the way it was worded. I will tell you, on the exam, I never ran into a question that was so difficult to intuit what you were supposed to do. I think the actual test questions are of higher quality than these are in general.
so I agree. The watermark, as I've said probably 30 times to y'all, is harder than the actual test. One thing that you're going to see also on your actual test is you're going to see some math questions. And this is probably, well, it didn't need to jump. This one right here
It's probably going to
is
be on there.
probably mild compared to what you're going to see on the actual test. It's going to say your organization is considering either doing development to create a new application, or there's 2 off-the-shelf things that they can do with additional contracts. And it's going to give you all kinds of statistics. I mean, things like, for the first 20 users, they're going to be free, but then the 300 users after that is going to be $20 per user. You're going to end up doing math. I think there were probably 6, maybe 8 of those on the test. Do the best you can. They will give you a piece of paper and a pencil and just figure it out. In my experience and a couple of other people, I swear the right answer was not on my screen. I mean, I did the math. I was mathing. I thought I was mathing pretty well. And I I just picked the closest answer to the one I got. So if you experience that, don't give up. You can still pass it even if you can't get the math perfect. But expect that you're going to get some things that are there. You are going to get math questions. You're going to get some estimation questions. You're going to need to use a PERT from the techniques. So I don't want you to not be prepared for those things. You need to understand what return on investment, how to calculate it. Okay?
Yep.
So to get this, I told it, give me multiple choice questions similar to the CBAP to determine ROI for contracts. And out of all of that, instead of just giving me calculations, it gave me things like which is the best for the formula and stuff like that. But Copilot is pretty good at giving you math questions with multiple choice that kind of puts you into that mode. Okay. I want to jump back to the very beginning of this one. Let's see if it'll do this time. No, that's not what I wanted to do. Okay, I'll go this way.
There
Okay.
you go.
Look at this. We're gonna go through
Well,
it this
there
way.
you go.
So, let's just jump on to the next one. Rest Easy is a company that provides outsourced IT solutions for retailers who don't have an internal IT application development and support personnel. Customer satisfaction scores have fallen each quarter for the past year or two. High revenue customers were threatening to go to a competitor where their contracts were up in 3 months. Brian is assigned as the BA to investigate root cause and recommend a cost-effective solution. So, what's the first thing Brian should do? Time is of the essence. Collaborate with key stakeholders to gain consensus on the definition of the problem and the resulting impacts. Plan elicitation activities with key stakeholders to identify root causes of their satisfaction so that a recommendation can be developed. Review reports to understand exactly how much customer satisfaction scores have decreased, or analyze key stakeholders to understand their power and interest level and current level of engagement. What do y'all think? He's got to move
Understood.
fast. First of all, should he be talking to key stakeholders or key customers?
Key customers, because the customer satisfaction scores are the ones that fall in.
Okay.
I like B because it says to plan first, and Babok likes you to plan things before you just.
Yeah.
It does want you to plan things. Okay. Anybody else have a different idea? Okay. Show out explanations.
Collaborate.
Collaborate
Key
with key
stakeholders.
stakeholders to gain consensus on the definition of the problem and resulting impacts. So
The customers are a stakeholder.
they are. So
Yeah.
him
But it's not the
identifying the
first thing.
business need is more important than him talking to the customers to figure out why they're not happy. If he
Gotta
were
have a
able to
need.
say, we have specific customer groups that we want you to focus on first, that would be a lot more beneficial than him just going to all customers. Okay, the next question on the same scenario. What is the business need in this scenario identified? I'm sorry, how is the business need in this scenario identified? Is it going to be from bottom up, from middle management, from top down, or from external drivers?
Chat says A.
I saw that. So I don't think this is a viable answer according to the Babok.
From middle management, no, it doesn't. Doesn't sound right. How is the business need?
So what does from bottom up mean?
Um,
Did they use
line
it?
workers
Yep.
up to manager.
So you're going to
Customer
talk to the people with boots on the ground that know to talk to the customers, that are working with the customers. Or from the top down, you're going to talk to the executives first. Or you're going to talk to figure out
External
external
drivers.
drivers.
Customers, they're not external. Are they external drivers? They're external to the organization, but they're stakeholders too. So I don't know
Mm-hmm.
how that's defined.
What does your gut say?
I don't know if I would call them. I feel like external drivers would be like politics and stuff like that, weather.
Right.
things.
Right?
I would say A, because you're going to still go to the retailers are the ones that are probably going to be able to
Yeah,
tell you.
D because it's customer.
You like D, Stephen?
Yeah,
Do you
just
think external drivers are
because
the
it's
customers
starting with the
themselves?
customer.
Well, the last question we told us that we don't start with the customers, we start with our management. But
Right.
let's
It
test
did.
them all.
Yep.
And
External
right.
drivers. So it's just going to like
External
totally.
drivers are defined as customer demand or business competition in the marketplace.
Customer demand.
With that understanding, that makes a lot more sense, doesn't it? Okay, let's go on to the next one. The performance of all business analysis activities are directed by which of the following documents? Is it the business analysis approach, information management approach, governance approach, or the BABOK? All of our activities are directed by which document?
Business analysis approach.
Yeah.
Everybody agree? Let's test it. And you are correct. This one provides a commonly accepted business analysis practices, but it doesn't direct our activities. This one directs our activities. This one gives us information about who can make decisions, but it doesn't direct our activities.
The BABOK is very general. BA approach could be much more specific and tailored to that project and organization.
Okay. Lewis has been asked to complete a post-implementation evaluation of a new automated system that was recently installed. After reviewing the project and the actual performance statistics, he saw that actual performance was better than the metrics that had been defined, yet there were frequent complaints from end users and management about its usefulness. His final recommendation was that the system be eliminated. Which of the following might have prompted this recommendation? So the entire question is useless to us. His final recommendation was the system to be eliminated. The BABOK says that there's one situation that would cause us to say this. If that's the only sentence we read, we're good. Although performance was actually better than the defined performance metrics for the solution may not have addressed the business need for which the project was undertaken and was redundant. Many of the stakeholders complained about the slow system response time. The original cost benefit analysis completed during the project initiation was faulty in that the forecasted benefits were inflated, or although the performance was actually better than the defined performance metrics for the solution, the end users complained about the new business process that was put into place in conjunction with the new system.
A.
I like A better. Yeah.
I'm leaning on A.
Okay, I will choose A, but I'm I want to ask y'all a question. Every time I see this question, I see this line that goes up through performance in all of these lines. Can y'all see that?
Yeah, I know. I see it too.
I mean, if you don't quite look at it, you can see it. Then you look at it, you can't see it.
I do see it.
It makes me crazy.
It does.
Okay, you're right. This scenario is rare but possible. You're performing root cause analysis in order to identify performance improvements. Reactive analysis is used for identifying the root causes of an occurring problem for blank action. Proactive analysis is used for identifying potential problem area for blank action. So are those blanks long-term, short-term, short-term, long-term, corrective, preventative, or preventative, corrective? So proactive analysis and reactive analysis.
C.
Yeah, I would say C, corrective and preventative.
Okay, let's test it. You are correct. Reactive analysis is used for corrective action and proactive analysis used for preventative action. So you proactively do things to prevent things from happening. Which of the following statements best describes an adaptive planning approach? Formal documentation is produced before the solution is developed and implemented. Adaptive approaches do not require documentation. Adaptive approaches focus on rapid delivery of business value in short iterations, or most business analysis work occurs in the beginning of the project or during one specific project phase.
C.
C.
I would say C.
Say C
Okay,
for iterations.
and you are correct. Business prioritizes functionality they would like the team to develop first. Value is delivered in predictable intervals. Okay. I'd like to spend just a few minutes. Yes, kiss your brain. That works. I'd like to spend just a few minutes talking about preparing for the test. How many of y'all have turned in your application?
Oh, yeah.
Got an application? Got an application? Okay. Okay. Does anybody need help with their application? Do we need to set up some time together, or are you not ready for it?
Yeah, I'll probably need to do that.
Okay. If you need to set up some time, if you'll contact me out through LinkedIn, we can set that time up.
Okay.
Okay. Is there anybody else who needs, who maybe has questions, or do you want to set up time? Okay. Next step. How many of you have scheduled your test that you've turned in your application? You've turned it in. Okay. You've scheduled your test. You don't have to tell me when it is, but scheduling your test is a really, really critical element because it gives you a sense of urgency and creates accountability automatically, right?
Yeah.
I encourage every student to, once you get your application accepted, go ahead and schedule your test. You know how many hours you studied. You know how many hours you've put in. You know that it takes 120 to 160 hours of study to be able to pass this monster. So figure out how long it's going to take you to get there. Set it for 2 weeks after that and schedule it. That way you got the clock is ticking, you know. I've seen lots of people start studying, maybe be in the study group, and they're like, I'll do it later. Well, this information you've put so hard in your brain that you've worked so hard to get it there leaks out if you don't use it. You know, if you don't visit it on a periodic basis. So it comes to a point where it's like, I've got to start studying all over again. They never end up taking the test. So set your date. Do it for yourself. Set your date. And then have you decided, all of you, are you going to take it from home or are you going to go to a proctored location?
Test center.
Proctored.
Proctored?
Yes.
Okay. How about the rest of you? Have you decided yet?
I'm aiming for a proctored
Test
location.
center.
I didn't need additional stress.
Look at your walls.
But look at my office. I know. I'd be in
Yeah.
the bathroom, like in the
She'd
bathtub
have
with the curtain closed.
I
She'd have to move
seriously-
everything.
I have had students that literally are either in a hallway or in a bathroom in their house to take the test. And I'm like,
No way.
4
what a
hours in the
great
bathtub
experience
is
that
not
would
good
be.
for my back.
No,
Right.
couldn't do
Right.
it.
So going to a proctor location is good. I do encourage, if you're not used to taking proctor tests, go to the site ahead of time. You know, give yourself 2 weeks ahead of time and go and just visit. They might not let you come past the desk, and I wouldn't be surprised if they didn't. If they have anybody taking the test, they won't let you go back into the room. But go see what it's like. Go, you know, kind of that way you can envision. So it's going to be like I'm going to sit in the chair that they tell me to sit in, and I'm going to have the cube here, and I'm going to have, you know, get an idea of what it's like. That way you don't have so much test anxiety stuff going on. It's familiar, it's expected.
I'll have test anxiety anyway, but
Well, but if you have an idea of what you're walking into, it's a whole lot easier,
yeah,
right?
yeah.
So
I've done
do
it
that for
before.
yourself.
Yeah.
I would like very much if y'all would let me know how you do. I don't care if you pass or not. I'm going to be cheering for you, because if you take it and you don't pass, that means that you now know what the test is like. You know the navigation, you know the UI, you know what it's going to feel like to be sitting there in that chair, and you know, you've got 2.5 hours to take the test. You know what it's like, because you're going to hit some walls. You know, you're going to be taking the test and you're going to I can't think anymore. So you're going to, lean back, shrug your shoulders, look it up, do some flexing, maybe get up and go use the bathroom. You have now new experience and new knowledge that you didn't have before. If you take the test and you don't pass, I think I've said this to you, but I'm going to say it to you again. If you don't pass, immediately go to your car and write down the things that you know you had trouble with, because you can remember them for 10 minutes. You can remember them, but you're not going to remember them for 2 hours. So write them down. I had challenges remembering the cardinality rules. I had challenges with you'll have a couple of things you can remember. Then drive home and reschedule the test for a week later. Don't lose the information that you've been putting in your head. Spend that week studying and then go take the test again. It is much cheaper to reschedule to take it a second time than it is the first time. But you don't want to go home and crawl under a rock. And you don't want to go home and just, get depressed or be embarrassed, because you've put all the work into it. You can do it. You just have to try one more time. At least that's my belief. Do y'all have any concerns? I talked to a group of people today about their concerns about taking the test, and they were like, I feel like I'm not smart enough. This is really, really hard. It used to be where it was easy for me to learn, and now I'm really struggling to learn. And so we talked about that today, and we all came to the conclusion that even the people that have passed felt that exact same way. So if you have any concerns, let's talk about them so that we can let you know you're not the only one with that same concern. Is anybody brave enough to be vulnerable and tell us what your concerns might be?
Honestly, the major thing I'm worried about now is at different testing centers I've been to, some will give you paper and a pen, and some just give you a single whiteboard. So I am the type of person where I have a cheat sheet. I memorize my cheat sheet. First thing I do when I go in is a brain dump and get it down, so I don't have to worry about remembering any of that stuff. So my concern is if it's a whiteboard and I have to do math, I
You're
don't
gonna
know.
have space.
Maybe I just skip the
Yeah.
math.
You can come back
Or
to the
do the
math at
best
the
you
very
can.
end. You can
Yeah.
come back to the math at the very end if you need to.
Yeah. So
And you should be able to talk to them and figure out, do they give you a whiteboard or do they give you a piece of paper? And that would tell you which one you want to go to.
Well, we have the one that's closest and easiest to
I'm
get
going.
to.
I'm 45 minutes regardless. So
Yeah. So I'm going to the same one she's going to.
oh, you're going to FGCU too?
Yes.
That's awesome.
Different day, but same one. Yeah. I guess for me, I am So similar, kind of similar to what you're talking about, Sandy, is for me is just to remember each of the tasks and try to, make sure that I know what goes with each one. And then I figured I'll be better. But the math part of it, yeah, that's the one that, I mean, to remember formulas.
There's only a few that you need to remember. You need to remember the kinds of estimation. And, there's that one where you take the most optimistic, the least optimistic, and then 3 of the average, that kind of stuff. Just look at the different
That part I know. That's, I
Yeah,
mean,
yeah,
because
those are easy.
that's like
The
accounting stuff.
ROI, ROR, those are not hard.
No, you're
ROI,
gonna get those. Yeah, ROI. Absolute, what is it? Absolute value? No, that's not it. Potential value.
potential value.
What the definition for potential value? You need that one.
Of return is important.
Rate of return.
Yeah.
So yeah,
Some of those are more important in PMP, but they do come up in business analysis.
And I
Yeah.
had them all for PMP, but as soon as the exam was over, I let them out. Every time I learn something new, something has to go out. So it's like
Exactly.
let me talk
That's
a little
exactly
bit
true.
about the tasks and the knowledge areas and the inputs and outputs and all that stuff. It's really important in the watermark questions because it's trying to get you to understand the concepts. It's not as important on the CBAP. It will say things like, what must you have to get this done? And so it's talking about an input, but it makes sense in the CBAP because it puts it in a scenario. And
Okay.
it's like, well, of course I know what you need, you can't do this without that. Just walk through it and which one must I have to get this accomplished? It seems a whole lot easier whenever you're doing the CBAP.
A
The thing that's
lot
hard
of
with the
the
CBAP,
watermark questions are only designed to point you to different sections of the BABOK. So it exercises all the material in the book. A lot of the questions on the CBAP you'll be able to reason through them, and they won't be lists of things in general. And you can do a lot of it through logic. I remember, and I've said this probably 20 times, so you're sick of hearing it. Understanding how the things flow from one to another, the inputs and outputs, and what order they go in, that's huge.
Yeah.
And that's most of what I knew when I took the thing.
probably
And
the
that-
hardest part of the test is you've got a whole lot of questions. It takes a long time. You need to build that muscle so you have the ability to endure. And that you don't give up, you don't get frustrated. So you got to just have the grit. Let's see. China says she's submitting in the fall and she's going to take it in person also. I'm excited to hear your results, China. Does anybody else have any concerns? Or are you just copacetic and good? Tell me, Stephen.
I have the same concern with the length. I think I just need to take like one of the practice tests and really kind of see what it's like to take it all in one.
The whole
So
thing, 120 questions.
This one
Yeah.
right here will give you the exam simulation without getting the answers back. But you can do this one right here, which gives you 100 questions and it gives you the answers.
I
Either
like
one
that
is
one.
going to tell you, for chapter 7, you had 16 questions and you got 13 correct, and here's your score. For chapter 8, both of them will tell you the same thing. It's just this one is going to give you the answers as you go through, and this one is not. But, on the real test, you're
just
not
check
going to get
all
the
of the
answers.
knowledge areas. So just check
Uh,
all the knowledge areas and then put it on the
Yes, check all 6 knowledge areas and go. This one will give it to you in the same percentage as you're going to get in the final test, but getting good scores in the different knowledge areas is more important than being. I mean, you got to get good scores in chapter 7. That's 30% of your test, but
Yeah.
beyond that, just getting good scores in all your knowledge areas is important. Does that make sense?
Yeah, I've been doing 25 questions
You've been doing
for
this one,
each knowledge area. Yeah, for each
okay,
knowledge area, like per day. So I'll
right? That's
study that
awesome.
particular chapter and then test myself.
Yeah.
Very good. Well, this is going to give you 100 scattered amongst all of them because that's kind of the way the test is going to be. Whichever way you do it, as long as you're doing, I think you're going to be fine. I mean, I can't promise, I can't guarantee, but I've seen students over and over and over, and I can tell how well y'all are understanding it. Anybody else have concerns, or anybody who's already spoken want to talk about something else?
Please take the exam.
I told you in my last class, in fact, one of my students from my last class came and talked to my current class at work today, and she said, I got to a point where I was studying and studying, and I couldn't get any more information into my brain. I felt like I'd learned as much as I was going to learn, and I wasn't going to be able to learn more, and I just started double questioning myself, is that really right? Do I need to change it? And she said, I just decided I'm going to go take it. And then whenever she took it, she came home and she said, I could have taken that test 2 months ago, but I didn't trust myself. So it makes a big difference. You got to trust yourself. Jovan, do you have any questions or concerns about taking the test? You're on mute, sir.
So my question is related to the exam prep material.
Okay.
I have done certification exams before, and I just wanted to know what you think about things like exam cram type preparation. So
Is exam cram a
I mean, not like the company, but like where you study from questions versus the material. Um, is there anything like that for this, or is it that you don't or do not recommend that type of approach?
so you're asking if you just studied the questions, are you going to get enough information without reading the Babok itself?
Well, in order to do those things, you have to read the Babak at least once, the material.
Yes.
But I'm just curious, if what is the history of things like repeat questions? Because in other exams, they repeat questions a lot, and you can basically use that to probably get 40% of the questions on the exam for
Okay.
other exams. So like many years ago, I did like Project Plus, and I read the book once, and I did 400 questions in 2 days, and I got like 94% on the exam.
Wow.
That's
From
very good.
but I don't know.
Well,
Based on this is hard compared to that, but I just
this
want.
is hard. Yeah.
Mm.
I don't recall one single question being repeated in the exam.
Okay, that's
So
what.
that's not going to happen.
All right,
Um,
what I wanted.
also in the exam, you're not going to find any questions that say which one is not the answer. You know, it just doesn't have questions like that as we have in Watermark. It's literally going to be, here's the scenario. What should she do next? Or what should he do next? Uh, you know, what do they need to consider? It's all of the situations that these concepts that we've been working on will lead you to.
All right, next question. The subscription for this exam prep. What were the options? I think there were 30 days, 60 day, and something else.
Let's go out to it.
I think it's 30, 60, and 120 or 90, something like that.
You got 30, 60, and 90.
90,
And
yeah.
with the discount from Tampa Bay, you get 40% off.
Okay, so it's 60 for 30 days. Okay. All right.
So it's basically $99 for 90 days if you want to do the 90-day one. And it gives you unlimited access, so you can do it all day and all night if you wanted to. And you can do any of the different types of tests. If you want to do the 25, 50, 100 specific to just one knowledge area or all the knowledge areas or which one you want, and it also gives you the drill feedback options. You can do it at the end of the drill, or you can do this one. It doesn't give you the answers at all until you finish and you go back and look at it. But this one is 120 questions, just like the real test, and it's going to give it to you in the same percentage of how many questions per knowledge area as it is in the real test.
Yeah.
All right.
Okay.
I have to take the test in September.
Okay.
But I think I'll only have like 30 days. Well,
No, it's going to be 30 days till the middle of August. So September, you've got between 45 days and 60 days, I think. No, that's I think I'm not mathing tonight. So I would encourage you to get your application in. It could take up to 2 weeks to get your application approved. Probably it won't. Probably it'll be approved within 30 minutes. But if they check your references, your reference folks need to respond to the email. And so you need to give yourself a little buffer time then. And then after you get it approved, then you've got to schedule your exam, and that's going to be probably a week out because they've got to have opening at the facility that you're going to go to. So you need to get it done. Do you have the spreadsheet that I gave y'all for your application?
yes, I think I saved that link.
Okay, good.
Okay. So my challenge is that August is like family vacation kind of stuff. So I don't really get to start studying until pretty much September. So I guess I can't make a rush for September. So maybe September, October, maybe the second week in October, maybe. All right. All right, I was just thinking out loud. So I guess I'll have to contact you regarding the application.
Okay. All right. I do encourage you to be consistent, even if you're on vacation. Put your flashcards on your phone. Do something. Study at least 3 hours, 3 1-hour sections during that week that you're on vacation, if it's a week. Because you'll lose data. You'll lose the information if you don't be consistent. Your brain says, I don't need it anymore.
Right, that's what I was, yeah.
Mine was easy. I drove to the Panhandle from Southwest Florida. I didn't drive. I was the passenger, and I'm sitting there with my Babok on my iPad, my study guide notebook, index cards falling on the floor while I'm sitting. But I did. I got like 2-3 hours in each way.
Yep.
Yep.
I had a
Well,
student that flew to Hawaii, and she says, I've got 6 hours. I can study on the way, I can study on the way back, and I've got it on my phone to, just during the week. So yeah, you can do it.
well, this next week my cousin's coming and I'm planning to do it when he's here. So, but I won't
Yeah.
be here probably. Well, we'll see about Thursday night,
Okay.
depending on what we're doing. But yeah, I have note cards like
Mhm.
Sandy. I've got it on my, I even got, so I did note cards on Canva because thanks to Michelle. So I have that on my iPad. Yes, as well. So yes, so I'm prepared.
Awesome. I want to have a creative geek out with Michelle someday. I want to
Yeah,
show you. She sounds
she's
like she's
very
got some
creative.
interesting stuff.
She does.
Yeah.
Okay. Anybody else? I've got a few more people on the call. China, I know that you're only on the chat. Do you have any concerns about taking the test? China, incidentally, is a test guru. She teaches PMP. So, you know, she probably knows what she's doing better than we do.
Oh my. Well, thank you so much. I appreciate that. Now I don't have too many questions right now. I've been all over the place for I guess a month and a half. I don't know. But I'm trying to get back into a routine and just dwindle down on some things. But I definitely am still down to the best answer, and the answer I think is the answer. So I'm gonna have to do like a few mocks. I'm thinking at least 2 or 3 mock exams, and I think I'll be ready to go.
Okay, always remember you got to do it according to the Babok. Oh, one more thing. Remember, according to the Babok, what we think of as goals, they think of as objectives. Objectives in the Babok are specific, measurable things. So you just got to be sure you're doing it according to the way the Babok thinks. Pretend like you work in the company of the Babok, and you got to do it the way their PMO tells you to do it. And their PMO is in the book. They made a handbook for you. Isn't that nice?
Yes, thank you so much.
All right.
I'll
All right.
focus
Well, I will
on-
let y'all go for this week. If y'all have the ability to participate in the SDLC effort that we are putting on in August, September, and half of October, it's going to be quite an adventure. Nobody's ever done this before, guys, but we want people to walk through the steps of SDLC and to experience working with a team of the, the project manager and the developer and the graphic designer and everybody. So if you're capable of participating in that as well as this, I encourage you to do it. Several of you are going to be testing out and not wanting to come back anymore, but we're going to keep going for a little while to help the rest of you get ready to go.
Do you have
Stephen,
any documentation on that? Any flyers or any other information on that? Because I could hand it out to
yeah,
my
we've
team.
got it. We've got it right here. Let me.
Oh, it's on the Tampa Bay homepage?
Yeah.
Okay, I'll find it.
Okay. It's
that right.
there.
Okay, great.
Stephen, when did you say you were going to take your test?
Aiming for August, but I need to turn
Okay.
in my application.
Okay.
So for next week, we're continue focusing on 3 to 8.
3 to 8 next week. Yes. We're going to do something similar to what we did today, except more questions and less talk. I just wanted to give y'all a check break to be sure if you had any questions, you weren't, getting too discouraged or something. I'd rather talk about them than let them fester. Okay.
Okay.
And if you're interested in business architecture, next week in the other meeting, we're going to be talking to someone who went from a business analyst into a business architecture. And she actually teaches it now. So it's a pretty cool talk that she's going to bring. Okay.
That's at 7?
Yes, that's at 7. And then the week after that, this man named Bob Churchill, I don't know if you ever heard of him, but he's going to talk about his framework that he built over years and years. And then he discovered us and he was like, oh, we're speaking the same language. We just use a few different words. So he's going to talk about that. So that's going to be the lead in to us starting the SDLC process. We're going to have 4 teams of 10 people each. And for some roles, we're going to have people partnering on the role. Ideally, somebody who has less experience with somebody who has more experience for that role. But we're gonna do some good stuff. And then we're gonna have awards, which is always gonna be fun. Okay, guys. Thank you very much. See you on Thursday.
Thanks.
Bye.
Yeah.
Bye.
Bye. Thank you.